the deep, decade-long fractures in the Brown family, the polygamous dynamic made famous on reality TV, they reached this just devastating climax in March 2024.
Yeah.
That tragedy, the suicide of 25-year-old Garrison Brown, it wasn't some random occurrence. It felt like the heartbreaking, really profound consequence of years of documented pain, intense favoritism, and just bitter estrangement.
All played out on television.
Exactly. All played out for us to see for over a decade. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join us as we break down this intense celebrity drama and really dive into the story behind the headlines of the Sister Wives family. We're going to analyze the collapse of this unique family structure, one that was built on a kind of communal ideal.
So our mission today is to take your sources, the expert analysis, the family's own words, those key turning points, and figure out exactly how the patriarch, Kody Brown, became estranged from, well, the majority of his 18 children.
Right.
Which led to the complete implosion of his plural marriage. We're trying to trace that direct line, from the first visible crack right to the final collapse.
Yeah. We're going to unpack the exact moment one wife's arrival seemed to completely redefine the family dynamic. How that forced move across state lines became like a strategic restructuring tool. And the one crucial, unforgettable decision Kody made during the pandemic that was seen as the ultimate betrayal, leading straight to the first divorce.
So if we're tracing this back to the very beginning, where was the first sign? Where did the structure start showing instability? We kind of have to start with that tectonic shift, Robyn's arrival.
Yeah, it's important to remember the initial setup, right? When the show started in 2010, Kody was with his 3 spiritual wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine.
Right.
And together they were raising, 13 kids at that point?
13, yeah.
And the whole presentation was this unified communal thing where decisions were supposedly made, together.
But the sources, they really indicate that Robyn Brown's introduction, the 4th wife, it immediately acted as this fundamental disruption. She wasn't just like another person joining the circle.
No.
She actually changed the geometry of the whole thing. Kody signaled a completely different class of relationship with her, instantly creating a hierarchy where, well, none was really supposed to exist.
And the specifics of that early favoritism are pretty jarring when you look back. He was intimately involved in picking out Robyn's wedding dress, treating it as this traditional once-in-a-lifetime event.
Which it wasn't technically in that system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he took her on an 11-day honeymoon. Now, you put that in perspective. It's a stark contrast to, the brief road trips or maybe the disinterest he showed the original wives after their ceremonies. That sent a message right away, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It communicated to everyone, especially the kids, that the old communal structure, it was kind of over, and this more monogamous ideal was starting to take over.
Right.
And what's fascinating here is that the children picked up on this displacement immediately. This wasn't some slow burn of resentment building up. Christine, for instance, she was pretty vocal about her jealousy as early as 2011. She even mentioned her daughter Aspen, remarking, I haven't seen Dad for days.
I haven't seen Dad for days. Wow. That line just lands like a punch, doesn't it? It sounds less like adding a 4th equal partner and way more like immediately demoting the 3 existing families to, secondary status.
Precisely. The original family, despite all its complexities, it operated on this kind of communal principle, sharing resources, sharing time. Robyn came in seeking, a soulmate connection, a honeymoon marriage. That ideology is inherently much closer to monogamy.
Yeah.
And it just clashed dramatically with the existing structure. The practical result was this...
Right. But the symbolism, it was this clear, calculated, legal, and symbolic step that just cemented Robyn's primacy. It showed everyone where his loyalties, at least legally now, were.
That's right. By legally marrying Robyn, he provided stability for her kids. But he was also demonstrating that her branch of the family tree was now the official primary one. The other 3 marriages, purely spiritual agreements now.
Okay, so if Robyn's arrival was that initial fracture, the next big part of this story is about the accelerants. These huge decisions that just widen those cracks, maybe beyond any hope of repair.
Yeah.
And that really starts with the move to Flagstaff.
The Flagstaff move. The decision to leave that stability they had in the Las Vegas cul-de-sac. It was nothing short of catastrophic, really.
Yeah, that setup seemed pretty functional. 4 custom homes, 1 cul-de-sac. It allowed for some autonomy, but also that easy, necessary daily integration for such a huge family.
Right. Over 20 people. Moving just shattered that communal foundation completely.
And my reading of the sources, it really confirms this wasn't a collaborative thing at all. Christine felt the choice to move to Flagstaff was totally preordained. And the reason, well, as the audience probably suspects, turned out to be kind of self-serving.
Yeah, the sources confirm that suspicion. The real motive seems to trace back to Robyn's oldest son, Dayton, getting into university there.
Okay.
And this wasn't just suspicion. It was basically confirmed by Kody and Christine's son, Peyton. He stated it pretty bluntly. They all got uprooted for Dad's favorite wife.
Wow. That decision alone just dismantled the original wife's influence, didn't it? In Flagstaff, the family was physically fragmented, scattered across these expensive separate rentals.
Which just made it super easy for Kody to default to spending, the vast majority of his time, days, weeks at Robyn's place, essentially making her his only operational spouse.
And the financial fallout.
Yeah.
That was immediate and pretty devastating for the original wives.
Oh, yeah. While Kody and Robyn bought this large, secure home, Janelle, who was always pretty financially independent, remember, she was left rotating through apartments and eventually ended up living in an RV on that undeveloped Coyote Pass property.
Just up.
Pretty much. And Janelle's daughter, Gwendolyn, she later accused Kody and Robyn of having terrible spending habits, mismanaging the family's collective money, while others, like her mom, were suffering. The imbalance was financial, physical, and emotional.
Okay, this is where the story gets, well, really interesting and, frankly, quite disturbing. The COVID-19 pandemic rolls in, and it provides the perfect rationale for Kody to enforce the emotional separation that was already happening.
Yeah, it became the excuse.
His super strict protocols became the ultimate, non-negotiable loyalty test for the older children and the wives he was already distancing himself from.
The sources call them Kody's extreme rules, right? But the immediate hypocrisy just revealed the true intent. You had Robyn's nanny, not even family allowed, routine entry to their home. That whole nanny hypocrisy thing.
Right, I remember that.
Meanwhile, Kody's own wives and children, who were often following protocols themselves, they were barred from seeing him.
That's just astonishing. The rules felt less about public health and way more about enforcing his authority and isolating his favorite family unit. And this, unsurprisingly, led to these irreparable breaking points with his adult kids.
It absolutely became this desperate test of their obedience, like when Kody demanded Janelle kick out her adult sons for not following his super excessive list of rules.
What did she say?
She reportedly found the demand hilarious.
Oh, good for her.
But the consequences for the boys, Gabriel and Garrison, they weren't funny at all. Gabriel was apparently devastated when Kody called him on his 21st birthday.
Oh, no.
Completely forgot the occasion and only used the call to lecture him about the COVID protocols.
That is just heartbreaking. Forgetting your son's major milestone birthday only to turn the call into a lecture about arbitrary control. That's a level of emotional neglect that must have felt like the final insult.
And this all culminated in that angry confrontation with Garrison, who basically told his father, in no uncertain terms, this is goodbye forever. The emotional damage was just done.
But the ultimate betrayal, the one event Christine consistently points to as the absolute end of her marriage. That happened when Kody refused to go with her and their daughter Isabel to New Jersey.
For Isabel's major scoliosis surgery. Yeah.
His reason?
He cited needing not to be away from his home and from family, meaning Robyn's household, because of the required quarantine period after travel.
So quarantine was more important than his daughter's major surgery.
That's how Christine saw it. For her, this refusal, happening at a time of profound medical need for their child, it was the final straw. She later said, he broke my little girl's heart. It confirmed his fear of being separated from Robyn's household was greater than his obligation to his daughter's serious health crisis.
He just symbolized a total, complete abandonment of one family unit in favor of the prioritized one. I mean, once the patriarch of a plural family chooses one wife's needs over his own child's major health issues, there's really no coming back from that, is there?
Doesn't seem like it.
Okay, let's move now to the final battleground, Coyote Pass. This 14-acre piece of land bought for, what, $820,000?
Yep.
$820K.
It was supposed to be the symbol of their future unity, right? Building homes together. Instead, it became the land of broken dreams and financial warfare.
Yeah, the fight over this property, especially once the marriages started actually dissolving, it really exposed Kody's, well, fundamentally transactional and frankly deeply sexist view of his relationship.
Oh, so?
When they were forced to split the assets, he actually argued the land should not be split equally.
Wait, why not? What was the justification for that?
He literally told Mary she wasn't entitled to an equal share because she only had one child with him.
He what?
Yeah. He was effectively valuing his wives based on their reproductive output, basically. The size of the family unit they contributed. It's an incredible violation of the partnership they supposedly had.
That is just stunning. An argument that shows a total misunderstanding of marital partnership and just a shocking lack of respect for everything else his wives contributed, beyond having children.
It was such a betrayal that both Janelle and Mary had to threaten or even start legal action just to force a separation of assets. They had to lawyer up against
And
him.
totally lost faith in his leadership, his ability to be fair. And Christine, well, she just wanted out. She ended up selling her share of the property to Kody and Robyn for just $10.
$10.
$10.
Just to sever the ties, she took almost nothing just for peace.
Wow. And the children. They were watching all of this financial and emotional collapse. In the wake of their mother's leaving, the adult kids really formed this, unified block of dissent.
Yeah, Garrison, Gabe, Gwendolyn, Pyden, Mykelti.
They stepped into the public sphere, offering this strong, analytical counter-narrative to their father's version of events.
And their collective testimony is incredibly powerful because it's so consistent across the board.
Yeah.
These aren't just isolated complaints, They are shared experiences of emotional neglect and systemic favoritism.
And their grievances are specific and just devastating. Pyden, for instance, he revealed this shocking detail. Kody actually tried to add a gag clause to the TLC contracts.
Get out. Real. Yeah, to prohibit the adult kids from speaking negatively about him in public. That shows a desire for narrative control, not reconciliation, right?
Absolutely. Kody seemed to fear accountability more than he feared the estrangement itself. But the kids, they refused to stay silent. Gwendolyn shared that raw, emotional pain of neglect, saying publicly, "Imagine your father loving you." That isn't just anger talking. That's a specific accusation of a fundamental absence of paternal affection.
That quote alone just encapsulates the devastation of this whole breakdown. And then Mykelti delivered maybe the most famous, devastating analysis of all. If you're the common denominator that people have problems with, it's probably not them, it's you.
Yeah, that line cut right through Kody's whole victim narrative. It really did.
Right.
The children, by forming this united front and articulating their shared pain, they basically demonstrated that the problem lay with the structure Kody enforced, not with their individual failures to just, fall in line.
So after hearing all this evidence, how does Kody, the patriarch, defend himself against this really widespread critique from his own kids and his former wives?
Well, Kody has constructed this carefully controlled narrative where he frames himself as the primary victim of the whole situation.
The victim.
Yeah. He feels betrayed, rejected by his children. He publicly accused Christine of feeding flames in a civil war and poisoning the kids against him.
But wait, how can he claim betrayal when, every source points to him making these unilateral destructive decisions? The move, the pandemic rules, neglecting Isabel. Isn't that a massive contradiction?
It is a massive contradiction, and it seems rooted in a profound lack of self-awareness. When his adult children criticize his behavior, even when it's documented fact, he interprets it not as accountability, but as a direct withdrawal of love, an act of personal betrayal against him.
It's all about him.
It seems that way. He insists any future relationship has to be reciprocal, placing the entire burden of fixing things on the children.
And here's the kicker, right? The unbridgeable impasse. He has said he's willing to talk, but only if they agree not to criticize him, claiming they lack the life experience to judge his decisions.
Right. That attempt to impose silence just demonstrates he desires enforced respect through authority rather than earned respect through behavior. The truth we've really uncovered here is that this estrangement looks like the direct, predictable outcome of a decade spent prioritizing one single family unit, Robyn's, at the expense of everyone else.
Yeah.
That toxic hierarchy just led to an inevitable, probably irrevocable breakdown of trust.
The story of the Brown family has really become this definitive, televised cautionary tale, hasn't it? It's such a poignant illustration of how perceived favoritism, especially when it's coupled with a parent's refusal to acknowledge and apologize for their children's pain, can just shatter a family beyond repair, regardless of its original structure.
And as Christine so powerfully stated, healing requires that actions have to happen, not just words. What we see here is a family where one party is demanding authority and the others are demanding accountability.
So maybe something for you to consider. In a relationship defined by that exact dynamic, what is the prerequisite for reconciliation? Is genuine, lasting forgiveness even possible without some kind of fundamental, visible change from the person who holds the power? Something to mull over as you process the real-life drama of this family. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the story shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.